Former advisor predicts Trump deal to end Ukraine conflict. Former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton said on January 25 that the new administration of President Donald Trump taking office in the White House could be bad news for Ukraine. Bolton mentioned that President Trump recently warned Ukraine by cutting off military aid if the country refused to negotiate peace with Russia. According to Bolton, President Trump and his team want to negotiate because when Trump took office, he wanted the world to be a long series of agreements. He wants a deal to take Ukraine off his agenda. He sees it as former President Joe Biden's war. He wants to end that war. He doesn't want that war to complicate his agenda, the former U.S. National Security Advisor argued. Bolton said that the conditions for resolving the Ukraine conflict were set by U.S. Vice President J.D. Biden. Vance described it as a peace plan written in the Kremlin during the campaign. He said Trump would likely present President Vladimir Putin with a peace deal that would make the Russian leader very happy. I think Putin and the Kremlin would be very happy with a deal that would allow him to retain control of territories in Ukraine, have a ceasefire, and not accept Ukraine as a member of NATO. Bolton added. According to Bolton, Putin sees Trump as a pushover and will try to exploit the president's belief that the United States' relationships with foreign countries depend on his personal relationships with heads of state. Bolton served in the Trump administration during his first term, but was eventually fired in September 2019 after just 18 months on the job. Trump later harshly criticized Bolton. Earlier this week, President Putin welcomed President Trump's intention to resume contacts between Moscow and Washington. Putin stressed that Moscow has never refused to talk with Washington and is always ready to cooperate with any U.S. administration. Putin said Russia is ready to hold talks with Trump on the war in Ukraine. As for negotiations, we have always said, and I want to emphasize this again, that we are ready to negotiate on Ukraine. On the conflict, Putin told reporters. President Putin said that Russia and the United States could still find many points for dialogue on the most pressing issues, including the Ukraine conflict. The Russian leader described Trump as reliable, recalling the substantive relationship between the two leaders during Trump's first term in the White House. President Trump said this week that he was ready to meet the Russian leader immediately to end the conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on January 24 that President Putin was trying to manipulate President Trump. Zelensky's warning came after Putin expressed his readiness for dialogue with Trump and made positive comments about the U.S. leader. Kiev once again stressed its opposition to any peace talks between Trump and Putin over the nearly three-year war without the participation of Ukraine and its European partners. According to RT.